Oh, my land, y'all. It's Kathleen and Nikki.
We can't wait to share what we're up to in this episode.
Here we go.
Well, Kathleen, I was thinking as we're getting ready for this camping trip that we're heading out on, do you have any special memories of childhood camping that you wanted to share?
Yes. My family has always camped at this one particular campground. And my parents, they never did have two nickels rubbed together. So vacations for us were camping. I remember the time, though, that your family joined us. And on that trip, I remember two things, maybe three. Number one, back then, when we went to the campground, we rode in the back of the truck the whole way to the campground with the tent and the ice chest and everything else you had to have for camping. Because back then, they hadn't deemed that unsafe yet.
Right.
So
we rode in the back of the truck to go everywhere.
Right. We thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
And so I know that y'all came in a truck, and I remember that. And I remember that my dad used to always buy a watermelon, and he would put it in his T-shirt, and he would tie it up to a tree in the lake so that the lake water would cool the watermelon, and we would eat it like the next day. And we did that all the time until one time he pulled that T-shirt out, and the watermelon was gone. Like a turtle must have eaten it in the night or something. So we quit doing that.
I thought you were going to say there was a snake in the T-shirt or something. My heart was starting to race.
No, it was bye-bye watermelon. But he used to, That's how we kept the watermelon cool. I do also, though, remember that your dad worked nights. And I think that he slept in the back of the truck on the way to the campground.
On top of the back of the truck was packed with all the stuff. And I think your dad blew up an air mattress or something. He was laying on a mattress on top of all the stuff in the back of the truck.
And he fell asleep.
Well, yes, which was his intent.
Right, because he worked the night shift. And your dad generally he had a more darker complexion, not an olive, but like a honey tan, what I call.
Native American.
Yes, that's right, because he was part Native. How much Native American was he?
Well, his mama was 3/4.
Okay.
And I can't do math very well.
Right, so he was quite a bit.
Yeah.
We said that at the same time.
But mostly you could tell it in the color of his hair. Unlike his mama and one of his other brothers, he was tanner than I am, but he was not as tan as they were. So he would burn a couple of times before he would start getting his color.
Well, y'all, you can imagine.
He had on shorts.
And that was all. And he,
it was, how far of a drive would it be from the town we grew up in to the campground? Like
probably 2 hours. But the part is like he continued to sleep in the back of the truck. Once we got there, we were setting up camp. And let's just say he got a little crispy.
We can even go further to say that when he passed away years and years and years later, he still had scars on his legs.
Oh, mercy.
From that sunburn. Because he had little skinny bird legs.
He was a tall man, y'all. He was a real tall man. But, yeah, he sure did. He sure did burn himself something good. So I have a lot of really good memories camping as a kid.
That was the first and last family camping trip that we ever went on.
Right. I don't think there ever were any more.
No, we didn't even go, we didn't go with y'all's family. We didn't even go as a family. Now, once I became an adult, my parents would go camping with the church that they went to, but my mama slept in the car.
So there was just not good memories for them associated with that.
No, my mama doesn't like to sweat, and she doesn't like bugs, and she just generally doesn't like to be outside.
Well, that brings us back around to our current camping trip.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to sweat either.
Right.
So I had wanted to travel up north.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a little bit of a delay, y'all, because Nikki got the COVID. She called me. Well, she actually didn't call me. She texted me and said, Kathleen, I've done tested positive for the COVID. And I said, oh, don't you worry a bit about that, Nikki. Don't worry about it. And then she said, you text me, I've been crying ever since I found out. I said, quit crying. It will all be okay. I'm not worried a bit. We will wait for the 5 days and everything will be just fine.
So, to be clear, even more clear in this story, this was Wednesday. It was Thursday. I started having a little bit of a scratchy throat on Wednesday. We were going to leave on Friday.
Yeah, the very next day.
Thursday morning, I woke up, and this is my second go-round with COVID. And when I woke up Thursday morning, I knew I had COVID. So I work at a medical facility, and I went to work, and they tested me, and they said, oh, yeah, sometimes this doesn't come back for 2 or 3 days before you're positive, to show that you're positive. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, I'm leaving tomorrow. But then they came back out, and they're like, oh, no, we don't have to wait 2 or 3 days with you. You're positive.
Right.
So this is Thursday. We're leaving on Friday. And I'm crying because, first of all, I'm so excited about this trip. I feel like crap. And we've already prepaid for our first 2 camping spots. And Kathleen says, all through text, but we know each other well enough to know the tone of voice that the other one's using in their text. And she's like, oh, don't you worry. We'll get that money back. You don't worry. And even if we don't get it back, I'm not worried one bit about that money. Well, I'm so sick, I just go to sleep.
And I say, Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much.
Yes, because when I wake up from being asleep all day, I have a text from Kathleen's husband, who rarely sends me texts. And if he does, it's some kind of joke or some kind of surprise for Kathleen. And I wake up and there's a text from him, and I thought, oh no. And tears are starting to well up again. And then I open the text and it says, well, Nikki, I hate that you're sick, but it's really a good thing because I wasn't feeling safe. I wasn't feeling comfortable about y'all being in that camper. And Kathleen, she was going no matter what. So this is really a God thing that you are sick. I said, well, great. I'm happy to take one for the team.
Yeah, she did that, y'all. She took one for the team. So, if you haven't guessed, the camper wasn't ready. And, but the old phrase, come hell or high water, it was going to be ready if I had to stay up all night long. So, when she got the COVID, I was just like, the Lord intervened. I was sorry Nicole got sick with the COVID. And I prayed, Lord Jesus, please don't let it be an awful one. Please let her heal rapidly and it not be too rough on her body. But man, Thank you. Thank you. I needed that extra time.
That is true friendship right there.
So, Nikki, that meant I had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to continue to be ready. And now Nikki was supposed to show up at noon. And I said, why don't you get here at noon? And we'll get her hooked up and we'll get to going. And meanwhile, my husband was like, I'm at work then. And I'm like, oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Well, next thing I know, he's done taking off a half day so that he's at home for when we get there. And the trailer has no license plate. So I get up that Monday morning thinking everything's going to be smooth. And I started running in and those, there's just always that last minute stuff. So I had a lot of last minute things. One being the license plate. So I went to my local courthouse and said, I need a license plate for my trailer. And they said, oh, ma'am, we don't got none of them. We've been out for 2 weeks. I said, I am pulling out of my driveway in 2 hours to go across multiple states. I got to have a license plate. And so they started calling around the neighboring counties. And then I had to drive to another county to get the license plate for the back of the trailer. Oh, and I didn't tell you this part. When I went to one office to get it and stood in my line, they said, oh, we're so sorry. Our printer doesn't work. You're going to have to go to the office over there. So I went over to the office over there and I got my tags paying for it. And they're like, oh, the tags are really kept in the other office. I said, I know their printer doesn't work. So I get there. Meanwhile, I continued to communicate with Nikki, didn't want to leave her in the dark, and said, well, maybe we should put this off leaving till like 2 or 2:30. I don't really recall now. So, Nikki, tell them when did you get there and what was the situation like?
So I get there. You told me to be there at 2:30.
Okay.
And there was some traffic that I really wasn't expecting to have in the middle of the day on Monday. So I pulled in at 2:35.
Uh-huh.
A little distressed at myself because I don't like to be late. I don't want somebody to have to wait for me. So I was a little tense at myself because I was 5 minutes late.
You was cute, though. You had that little cute top on.
That is the most important thing.
She is cute.
Is that I had a cute top on. And I get there, and this also is in the middle of a heat wave. And it was hotter than like the 9th level of hell.
It was.
It was terrible hot. And I get there, and Kathleen says, now we're just about ready. We're just about ready, but not yet. And I look, and her husband is sweat pouring from his head. And I think every orifice that didn't have clothing on it was dripping sweat.
It's hot. It was hot.
And he is putting on a doorknob so that the camper door will shut.
That was important.
Yes, it was important. He was a little frustrated because the piece that somebody purchased was the wrong piece. So now he's having to get out some kind of saw, electric saw, and cut the door.
And he knew that was going to upset me because I don't like to mess with original things. I live in a real old home too, and one of the biggest fights of our marriage was over him trying to do something that wasn't original to the home.
Oh, yeah.
So he wanted to do a little cutting on lemon drop. And I'm going to tell y'all what, Nikki was distressed at herself for being late. well, you can just put my anxiety level on the +10 scale. I was like, he's like, I got to cut something. I was like, okay, whatever. Put a doorknob on. Put a doorknob on.
So now I keep saying, well, is there something that I can do? No. You, we got it all under control. And then she says, well, I can't see out of.
I forgot about that.
What are those called? Driver.
The mirrors, the side mirrors.
The side mirrors.
They didn't stick out far enough for me to see what was behind the trailer.
Right. I was wanting to say the rearview mirror, and I knew that wasn't right. She said, so I have gone and I have bought these things.
It's extenders.
And she said, so you got to figure out how to get these on here. And they got to go on both sides. And these suckers are expensive, so they better work. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm trying to put these extenders on.
Now, y'all, I haven't packed any clothes yet either.
Yeah. So let me we will, to make a long story short, we didn't leave till 5:00.
Yeah, we did. And I had clothes.
And Kathleen kept running in and out of the house because Kathleen has a cat and I'm allergic to cats, so I couldn't go in the house. So anything that had to come from inside the house out, she had to do that.
And I wanted to take a shower before we left. And Nikki was like, why in the world are you taking a shower? You're going to be sweating in like 0.5 minutes.
Yes, we're sweating our guts out. Her sweet husband. Now, let me just tell you this. I don't know if I told you this or not, but while you were inside running around like a chicken with your head cut off, he is out there, and I keep asking him, well, what can I do to help you? And there was nothing that I could do to help. So I just started videoing stuff. And trying to take pictures so that we could document this. But then I got so hot, I said to him, if there's nothing I can do, I'm going to go get my car and turn on the air conditioner. He said, yeah, that'd be a good idea. Go get in the air conditioning. So here is prissy little me getting in the air conditioning. Then I started feeling bad, so I came back out. And this was an hour into being there, and we still hadn't left. And I'm thinking, well, surely we're going to leave now. He is just going off. He is not happy that we're going on this trip. He is stressed out at you. We are not safe. We don't know what we're doing. And he's going to be worrying about us the whole time. And then he says to me, are you sure you don't still have COVID? Did you take another COVID test? Is it negative? I said, no, I didn't take another one, and we're not going to. I feel fine. We're leaving.
Yeah.
He was not happy with us because neither one of us, Kathleen had gone and gotten a lesson in how to back up, but I'd never even driven a vehicle pulling a trailer or anything.
Yeah.
And Kathleen had one lesson, but heck, we put the fairy bells on and we pulled out and went.
We did. White knuckling it. I was in such high anxiety because, I mean, outside of my friend's backyard, I had this trailer being pulled about an hour and 20 minutes worth of time on the road was the experience level, I had. Now, I had pulled a boat one other time, about an hour and a half. So combined, I was pushing maybe 3 hours worth of experience on a road pulling something.
I also have to just tell this little piece of story.
Oh, geez.
Because when we had talked about packing, and she was trying to explain to me how little room we had to pack. And I had to pack my stuff in containers. I couldn't use my suitcases and all this, which is fine. I mean, I'm being dramatic about it, but it was fine. But it was different for me. And I was just, I had packed like a couple of days ahead because I was sick and didn't have anything else to do, but also because I was stressed about getting everything that I needed packed in this little space. But as she said, I think in the first episode, the cab of the truck had a lot of room. And she had gone into great detail to me of how we were going to organize the cab of the truck. And that I needed to have a bag for snacks that we were going to keep in so that we didn't have to stop as often. And then probably I would also need a bag, like a handled bag. So what I used was like my shopping grocery bags that I take.
Yes.
And I had like quick things that I needed and my planner and journal and all that stuff in that bag and my book and a jacket, which at that moment I thought, what in the world am I thinking? Because it's hotter than the 9th level of hell. And it was that hot in Michigan too. And I was, and we were kind of making fun of me because I had a sweatshirt and a jacket. We were both
right.
But y'all, I did not take a picture, and I'm really sorry that I didn't for myself and for y'all, because the back of that truck looked like somebody had just blown up a house.
It was chaos as far as we thought we would have. So we end up, Nikki finds us a hotel spot. And we pull off for the night, and it was like a truck camping ground.
Yeah, let me just say, all of the hotels were full of truckers.
Right.
And I said to Kathleen, I do not want to stay in a hotel with a bunch of truckers. We got to find us another hotel. So we went to the other side of the street thinking we were going to find some more hotels. And we did find more hotels, but they were all trucker hotels also.
Which ended up being a blessing.
Absolutely.
It was a blessing. So we got out at the first hotel, and I said to Nikki, ask him if there's any room at the inn. She goes, hush up, you ain't married. And so that hotel only had a suite left, and they wanted more money than we wanted to pay. And I looked, I was taught, now, Kathleen, scope out the parking lots, scope out the gas stations, look before you pull into any place because you don't want to get yourself stuck. So the first hotel, just fine. Now, I didn't want to park around all the truckers and the extra lots because, I was like, oh, my goodness, I'm going to get in their way. What if I can't get out around them in the morning? Lemon Drops, she's only 18 feet, and then you got these big semis. They just kind of dwarfed her and covered her up. And so we went to the next hotel and pulled up, and Nikki ran in, and they had a room, and she comes out and she says, they have a room, and they told me to tell you just to pull around back and park in the back on the side. There was cameras. So she goes in, and I start pulling around the back. Well, it was a little deceiving. Yes, the parking lot did go all the way around the back. But when I started pulling around that curve, it narrowed down to one lane, a single lane width, sharp turns, great big concrete poles to block you. from getting on the curb and the grass. And
a retaining wall. Retaining wall.
Yes, and a retaining wall. And I called Nikki and I said, Nikki, I think I've got a problem.
Oh, no.
What'd I say?
She called me and she said, get out here right now. I need your help. I said, Kathleen, I'm paying the bill right now. I can't leave just yet. Well, get out here. I said, give me just a minute. About 2 minutes later, the phone rings again. It is Kathleen again. I need you right now.
Yes, because there was this very kind gentleman that assured me that I could make it. And so he proceeded to tell me to come on, and I had plenty of clearance and yada, 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 and I got stuck. I'm talking stuck. I mean, I was in a pickle. And so...
What was it you kept saying? I'm going to jackknife it or what?
Yes.
I don't know what that means, but she knew that it was bad and she was about to do it. And they kept telling her, no, you're not. And she was like, yes, I am. I can see I am.
Yes, I could see. I'd had that lesson, for a few hours. And so I caught in the rear view mirror this gentleman, and I thought, implement the backup plan. And he was watching, and he walked up to me and he said, ma'am, can I help you? And I said, oh, yes, sir. Yes, you can help me. I really appreciate this so much. So he proceeded to tell me what I could do. He was watching. He went up on top of the retaining wall and was looking down on me, and he was telling me. And I was making progress just very slowly.
And you were getting extremely, extremely stressed. I mean, you were already stressed, but the panic was flowing off of you everywhere.
Yes.
And so what did I do? I pulled out my phone and started videoing her.
Yes, she did. She's such a good friend to video me in my time of despair. So finally, this man says to me, he says, ma'am, I can make this a lot easier. Do you mind if I just get in your truck and I will finish backing up the camper for you? And I said, oh, no problem. Boy, I put that thing in park, put the brake on it, and, 2 seconds flat. And he jumps in and he gets it all backed up to the commentary of the hotel people that are staying in the hotel, to the people that own the hotel. I mean, we've got a crowd joining us at this point. And he gets it backed up into a good spot. And I said, oh, no, it's going the wrong way. I have to get out in the morning, and I'm going to be in the same trouble because I can't back it up. And so he sat there and he turned that whole thing around, got me going in the right direction. And I said that night that my Savior came in the form of a man in a neon green shirt. And thank you, Jesus, because you just don't ever know who Jesus is going to send to save you. And he sent us that gentleman because he knew we need to be that spot with all those truckers. He knew somebody was going to come out there and see us and go, I got to help them poor women. They don't know up from down.
So he put me in my place twice that evening.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, because first I didn't want to be in the hotel with the trucker.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you mean God? Yes.
And then because I said I wasn't asking no man to do something that we could figure out on our own.
He sent a man to help us.
A trucker.
Yes. He was so kind, too.
He really was.
He was so kind. And he was almost embarrassed over us expressing our gratitude because I didn't just say, "Oh, thank you, sir." Oh, no, I was exuberant.
Surprise, surprise.
I was over the top. But when you get stuck like that and your anxiety is going like a skyrocket, to space, he really came through. The Lord sent him. The man was extremely nice. And he saved the day.
He did.
So that leads us to the advice for this episode. I want you to, I think often in life, I don't know if I should say often. I think it comes easier to some people than others. We don't always want to accept help.
Right.
And people are willing to help us. And I think sometimes we can get a little too stubborn or too prideful, or I don't know. And you don't want to, accept somebody else's help. But if we had not accepted that gentleman's help that night, would we have eventually gotten out of the fix? I would hope so, but not without me boo-hooing.
Right.
Not without it taking 3 or 4 times as long. Because, you and I did not ever get irritated at each other.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't get irritated at each other about me not being able to go in the right direction or anything like that. And I just know that accepting help that night was exactly what we needed to do for ourselves. And I think that some people, that's their gift to other people. It's their gift to be kind and generous in giving their time. I think so many times people in life think the only way I can donate to something or give to something is to give somebody money, or give an organization money. But a lot of times people just need your time. And that gentleman that night, he gave us his time and his expertise, because he did say to me, that's what 22 years of driving a semi will do for you. They use the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it took a village to help me park that camper that night. And thank goodness there were people that were willing to help me. So accept people's help. You can't always do everything on your own.
Yes, that is true. That is true. And she is definitely preaching to me. She's saying that.
I'm giving her the eye. Yeah. Okay, well, y'all, we hope you can use that piece of advice or tweak it to fit your life and or your friendships. If you have any questions that you would like for us to answer, or a piece of advice that you would like us to share, email us at ohmylands@gmail.com.
Oh My Lands, Here We Go is produced by Nick Lean Productions. Our song, OML, Here We Go Again, was written and performed by Joey Boone, copyright 2022. Joey Boone, eDaddy Music, ASCAP. You can follow Joey on Facebook and Instagram at Joey Boone Music. You can also find him at joeyboonemusic.com. If you have enjoyed the podcast, Oh My Lands, Here We Go, please subscribe and review us and download. This helps us to keep sharing our adventures. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Seriously, y'all, thanks for joining us on this part of our adventure and laughing with us as we go. Hope to see you next time. Bye.